Hello, this is Sierra and welcome to another video. Today we are reading chapter 18 of Hermitcraft Freedom, a fan-made universe, Minecraft-inspired universe where I put Minecraft YouTubers in a world and see what happens. In this case, Hermitcraft. The Hermitcraft people. I put them in a world, but doing this Clockwork Chronicles thing since 2019, but I've been writing it since 2017, so I just, and the hermit stuff wasn't until like a few years ago, so captions are available to this video if you are interested in listening, watching, like, reading along with me, but of course you don't have to. You can just chill and enjoy the ride. There are going to be spoilers here. So if you haven't read the other chapters, I would suggest going back to them, but you don't have to. But some details from previous chapters will be important to what's coming next and what's building up. And of course, everybody likes Grian. Grian is a favorite. Most people click on it for Grian, and I guess it shows what perspective people prefer. That's fine. You're willing to listen to my voice for 10 to 20 minutes or so. But let's get on with it, shall we? Yeah, you might hear a rooster in the background. That pesky rooster. Chapter 18. Grian couldn't sleep. He wasn't sure what time it was. He knew it had to be around evening, seeing as he'd gotten a bowl of soup from a silent guard about an hour ago. What would he find if he closed his eyes and allowed himself to sleep? He knew he needed to find a way to reach his friends, but what if it didn't work? What if they fell for the trick and didn't try to look for them? Grian shuddered when the question crossed his mind. He had been shoved into a 1x1 glass box with an iron door. Some sort of machine. That was all he knew. He remembered a tickling sensation before he noticed movement to his left. He turned to watch as the machine went to work. It was like looking into a mirror. The machine could make robotic lookalikes, and it looked just like him. No one would ever think twice, Rob said smugly. His dark gray eyes shone with triumph. If only I had this when I needed a decoy. You're a monster, Impulse hissed, but Rob only chuckled as he stood securely beside Carniver. Grian had watched the robot step out of the machine, looking around before looking at the two men. Did it know who it was supposed to be? You know what to do, Carniver said simply. The robot nodded stiffly before walking out of the room. Grian was then dragged out of the machine as he watched Impulse endure the same horrifying experience. Would anyone even notice? Would they care? Of course they would care, Grian snapped, hating how his thoughts were spiraling out of control. He couldn't give up hope. Surely his friends would notice how strange the machines behaved. What's it supposed to do anyway? How had the men gotten their hands on such a machine? Surely they hadn't made it themselves. Had they? Grian let out a sigh, sitting up, taking in his bland, stony surroundings. There wasn't even a bed here for them. At least the boys had something to sleep on that wasn't the cold hard floor. He looked down at his feet, at his shackled ankles. How were they supposed to get out of this? These men wouldn't let them go. No, not when they were so valuable for their plans. But how would hurting them help them, the enemy, find what they were really after. A shadow passed by the cell door, obscuring the light from the hallway. Grian heard a click a moment later, as he stumbled to his feet. He noticed another barred window in his cell that hadn't been there before as he walked over to it. His eyes widened as two soldiers walked into the cell, one of them carrying someone over his shoulder. "Do you think she'll be ready for the interrogations tomorrow?" one of the guards asked with a scowl. Grian frowned. "She?" Then he saw the tattered clothes, flight jacket, with the bright blonde hair. False. A shudder ran down his spine. She wasn't moving, but obviously she was still alive. What had they done to her? "Connor can always have her watch," the second man grunted, tossing his load onto the floor. False groaned as the men shackled her feet. Her face was pale, her sword arm wrapped in bandages from her shoulder down to her elbow. It swallowed. She looked so much like Scar when he'd been splashed by a harming potion after returning from Lovely World for the first time. Has she been taken through a portal? It's not our fault that we were being followed. We had to lose them. Well, the good thing the bots were there to distract them. The second man chuckled. I can't believe they fell for it. I nearly did. Excuse me. Oh, gosh. Not the second man, that's the first man. It's the other man. Don't ask. I nearly did, the first man grunted, getting to his feet. I almost thought the prisoners had escaped. The two men laughed before walking out of the cell, locking the door behind them. Unease prickled through Grian as the hermit watched them go, before removing his eyes to their new neighbor. It made so much sense now, knowing that Sam was here as well. Were Aiden and Aaron here too? Grian swallowed. They didn't know where Stampy was any more than he did. He hoped they were okay. What's going on? Impulse groaned. Grian looked over his shoulder to see his friend peeking through the other barred window. It just brought in False, Grian said softly, meeting his friend's eyes. They must have attacked her base not long after Scout betrayed us. Sorry, I'm mentioning his name again. After the book, he did not need to be mentioned again. I don't know. It's fine. Yeah, I have a thing. Yeah, after this book, a certain former hermit's not going to be mentioned again. But yeah, I had to do something with the character. Yeah, his fate, still mystery. Obviously, I know what happened to him. But it was left ambiguous for a reason. Not that he's coming back. No. Impulse scowled. Of course they did. Are they ever satisfied with anything? We'll find a way to get everyone out, Grian said hopefully. Impulse nodded. You think Aiden and Aaron are here? I don't know. Grian looked away, peering into the barred window again. False has been through a lot. She had to escape through a portal, I'm guessing. She was almost rescued, but then the decoys showed up. Oh, is she okay? She looks okay, Grian reported, spotting a dark stain on her jacket near her injured arm. She's recovering from an injury. It took a bit out of her. Just don't get it, Impulse admitted. Grian looked back. I just don't get why they took her too. She doesn't know Stampy all that well. She's never met him. Not that I know anyway. Grian smiled weakly. She was with Sam. Maybe they thought they had a close connection. Impulse snorted, shaking his head. I'm guessing you can sleep. What's the point? No one's going to be trying to look for us. Now, Grian sighed, stepping away from the window. They have the decoys. It won't last forever. They'll figure it out, Impulse said simply. I hope you're right, Grian admitted, staring down at his feet. What do you think they're doing right now? Probably focusing their attention on False. Unless they have another decoy or two, Impulse pointed out. And they'll be looking for the boys. Rose isn't going to be happy knowing that the effectors have her nephews. Grian bit his bottom lip. Maybe they want to lure her out too. The defectors believe Stampy is mind controlling her. Impulse chuckled. Right. The rumors. Yeah, Kate must have told them off script, off page or something like that. Don't worry about it. I did realize after I wrote that, but it's not a big deal. There has to be some way to get out of here, Grian insisted. Wireless redstone. We need to find out these headbands, what these headbands are connected to, and disable it, so we can get out of here or call for help. Paul shook his head. We don't have a crafting table, much less the tools to make a pickaxe. Can we make a pickaxe anywhere? Grian asked. True, but we still need wood, Impulse pointed out. Right. Let me think on it for a bit, okay? I'll do the same. Grian lifted his chin. Impulse smiled, but the smile didn't reach his eyes. Would they be able to get out of here before Carnival was ready to begin with the interrogations? We gotta slow down. Try to get some sleep then, Impulse suggested. Grian smirked. You first. The older hermit laughed. Good night, Impulse said, disappearing from view. Good night, Grian yawned, finding a spot on the floor. It was going to be a long night for all of them. Grian snapped his eyes open just as he was dragged to his feet. Grian stumbled as the soldier held him a firm grip on his arm. The man was big, with a muscular frame and a face that looked as hard as stone. Time to go, the man said gruffly, pulling Grian away from the back wall. Already chosen to get some sleep. Not that it was very restful. Go where? Grian asked, hating how fear seeped through his... He glanced toward Impulse's cell, but it was quiet. You'll see soon enough, the man stated, pulling him out of his cell. His feet were shackled together, limiting movement as he trudged after the man. What about Impulse? Grian pressed. Asking questions will get you nowhere, traitor. The man tightened his grip on Grian's arm. Grian bent back, a cry of pain. Knowing someone doesn't make me a traitor, Grian said simply. Does it look like I care? The man growled, dragging the hermit down the hallway. At the end of the hall, he could see a row of dark oak doors, shivering down his spine as the man led him to one of the rooms. The interrogations had begun. Dread consumed him as the guard pushed open one of the doors, pulling him inside. Grian blinked, trying to adjust his eyes to the dim lighting. There was a furnace on one corner of the room, burning brightly. Near the door was a small enclosure of iron bars. Grian swallowed when he met eyes with its occupant. Liam. No, this couldn't be happening. He drew his attention to a pale cot across the room, attached with metal restraints that would hold its victim in place. Grian shuddered as he took in his bed. It looked just like the cots RJ had Grian and Tango strapped onto for their interrogations. Torture. No, please no, Grian whispered, attempting to squirm out of the guard's iron grip. The guard ignored him, shoving Grian onto the cold surface, holding the hermit down as Grian struggled to get away. Eventually the metal straits were strapped onto his wrists and connected to the shackles on his ankles. There was nothing he could do. Where was Impulse? False. Were they in similar predicaments as well? The guard stepped away from the cot, turning away. He crossed the room, exiting into the hallway. He'd done what he came to do. Sorry, Liam spoke softly. Grian turned his head, meeting Liam's eyes. You didn't do this, Grian replied. They won't rest until they get what they want. We'll get out of here, Liam said matter-of-factly. Grian smiled sadly, moving his eyes to the dull ceiling. At least Liam wasn't restrained in one of those beds. Conover had no intention of hurting the boys. One of these beds. He had no intention of hurting the boys. Yet. This feels so familiar, Liam continued. Didn't Daddy ever tell you what happened? Sam had to watch. A lump formed in Grian's throat. She didn't like talking about it. No, it's not modular, but it is fine. RJ was there, Liam said. Yeah, RJ was also there when he restrained me and Tango and tortured us. Liam sighed. I hope Sam and Blake are okay. They will be, Grian stated. They're tough. Don't be so sure of that, a familiar voice spoke. The shudder ran down his spine as the hermit looked toward the door. 3 men walked into the room. The bright light of the hallway cast them in shadows, but Grian didn't have to guess. Conover and Rob had arrived. With them was a man he thought had been locked away. How? Grian's eyes widened. Richard Jarkin only smiled. We let him out, Rob said simply, crossing the room, stand by the furnace. Are we ready? You should be asking him that question, Conover pointed to Liam before turning to the boy. You know how to stop this, don't you? Answer my questions, and your charge won't suffer the consequences. I've already told you. None of us know where he is or how to reach him. Liam lifted his chin, but Grian could see fear in the boy's eyes. So be it, Rob said darkly, pulling out an enchanted iron dagger before approaching the cot. Grian squirmed against the restraints, but it was no use. There was nowhere for him to go. The man loomed over the hermit, holding up the blade for Grian to see. Now, where should I start? No, Grian whimpered. Rob's eyes narrowed as he lowered the blade. A hint of smoke wafted from the weapon. Grian shivered. I'm telling the truth, Liam insisted. Rose is the only one who knows. Like that helps us any, Rob snorted, resting the tip of the blade just inches from Grian's left shoulder. Unless you know how to reach her and beg her to rescue you. I don't know where she is, Liam frowned. You have to know something, Richard smirked. His arms crossed as he leaned against the wall next to Liam's cage. Conover stood beside him, silent. There's nothing to tell, Liam replied. Clearly there is. Richard glanced over. Dan has contact with him. How else would he be helping others, saving useless lives? They're not useless. So you say, Rob snickered. Grian lunged as the blade pricked his shoulder. Yet we know that the cat's also in contact with Scott. Scott? Grian squeaked. Cheryl's connection with the girl is strong, Rob continued, looking over at Liam. He knows she's seen Stampy. Talked to him. He knows that Stampy is working with Scott to discover and dismantle everything Mr. Ace worked for. He knows everything she sees, whether she likes it or not. And how do you know? Liam's bright blue eyes flashed. His thoughts are my thoughts. His goals are mine. Like that girl, I've chosen to embrace my fate. He is me, and I am him. Grian shuddered at the man's words, recognizing the storminess of the man's eyes. They hadn't changed all that much. How much control did Gerald have? How much of Rob was left? Liam shook his head. Then why are we here, if you already know where he is? We don't. Kate never saw the cords, because of the scrambler, Rob replied. Not that it matters. The only way to lure him out is to make him believe you are in trouble. But you are. Richard shrugged nonchalantly. It's going to take a lot longer for that with the decoys, Liam stated. Rob smiled. I wouldn't doubt your friends. I don't, Liam said. Then why do you think we sent a pair of indestructible robots look-alikes to their doorstep? Rob raised an eyebrow. A lump formed in Grian's throat. Indestructible? What were the machines programmed to do? Scar's face filled his mind. Grian shuddered. No amount of swordplay was going to save his friends from what was coming. And that is where we're going to end this video. Don't worry, it's coming. It's coming in the next, next chapter. Couple chapters. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna have some fun. If you guys haven't watched Lovely World and don't know what I'm referencing, that's okay. But, yeah, I will explain it in later chapters. But, yeah, it is something to do with some other stuff, because once I mentioned the fact that, the defectors stole, the blueprints to some of Viva's, gadgets and machines. With the mind control thing, it's one of those machines. So, yeah, it stands to reason that there might be more that they have at hand. So I get to have a little fun. And, yeah, we get our NPC Grian, ironically enough. Because you're gonna get. But, yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one, whenever that might be. Yeah, maybe next week. Tune into Kate's perspective when she, well, you know, there'll be a lot of Kate in the next few chapters, only because, yeah, her perspective is the most interesting right now. Well, of course, it's mixed within other hermits like Beat-Ups and Gem. So, yeah. Not what I meant to do, but it is what it is. You gotta tell the story, and it made sense to add a little bit more. That's what I did. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and pardon my rambling. Bye.